When it comes to Marvel Comics and the future of the MCU in regards to villains they could possibly use, one name sticks out to everybody, and his connection to the Fantastic Four cannot be ignored. So in this members Q&A, we're going to talk about the one and only Galactus and when he could possibly show up in the MCU. So thank you to the member of the CBC over in the community tab, and thank you for the question. So let's just get right into it. When will Galactus show up in the MCU, and will he show up anytime soon? And I think the answer for this one is no, and it's a big definitive no. Not anytime soon. And here's the thing, when people look at the MCU, what they have lined up for the future, they say, well, they have no villain, they've used Thanos, they have no other villains, they have to do Galactus next. And I laugh at this notion every single time, because come a decade ago, nobody knew who Thanos was. I specifically remember, and I told this story way back when the Avengers ended and the post-credits scene with Thanos happened, one of the guys in the theater stood up and said, "Oh my god, that's the Superman villain." He thought it was Darkseid. Again, that doesn't matter at all. What the casuals know, what they think they know, and who they can make a big villain has no bearings on Galactus appearing anytime soon. Again, the people did not even know who Thanos was at the time they were watching the Avengers. They barely even knew who Captain America was, considering the movie leading up into it, the first Captain America film, the first Avenger, did not even set the box office world on fire. Only Iron Man was a big success. So again, it takes time. So Galactus anytime soon, and when will he show up? This is something that's going to be built up probably over the course of the next 15 years, because again, he is your end game. And I mean that in a literal sense. When Galactus comes, the amount of destruction that's going to happen on the planet, the amount of destruction that's going to happen in the entire Marvel universe is going to be on a completely different scale. And yes, we had Thanos, he did what he did, but why would you waste Galactus right off the bat when you can only have maybe one Fantastic Four movie in the meantime? Again, they're going to have other villains. Kang the Conqueror. They have other villains like Doctor Doom, for example. If you frame him as just a villain, or maybe even a somewhat of an anti-hero, you can really play with that. There's obviously other multiverse versions of characters they could use. They still have to introduce the X-Men. They could all take on Magneto. I mean, there's so much to do that introducing Galactus before it's too early would be a wasted opportunity. It would essentially be like the second Fantastic Four film. Now, with that notion, I think you can do Galactus in a sort of Thanos-like build-up, where maybe it's mentioned that in a faraway galaxy, there's planets disappearing, and they're trying to investigate, but they don't know what it is. And I think you build them up in a different way, where maybe it starts off like the Galactus Swarm, for example, where they take on a more Borg-like thing, where they assimilate and add the planets to their collection, their knowledge, and then you build up that he's forming a body out of all the resources, so by the time he shows up, he's absolutely massive. And again, to explain how massive he can get, you just have to look at the Eternals, for example, which if you look at them, the Celestials, they're absolutely massive, so he's going to have to make the Celestials look like a joke. So I'm talking again on a grandiose scale, and you can't just make him a tiny little dude. So again, it's all gonna take a long time. It's gonna take some careful planning, careful work, laying down the foundation, and introducing many other elements. I mean, if I was them, I would do Silver Surfer first before I ever touch Galactus, and then show the downfall of Norrin-Rad, the rise of the Surfer, the betrayal, and then finally getting to that. That would in itself is at least 2 movies, if not more.